it's Lyle from Made by Marley, and today what I'm doing is I've just got the cheap polystyrene eggs which I bought at Home Bargains, and I'm going to run through the process of how you decoupage eggs with a napkin. First of all, you just liberally coat your egg with Mod Podge. It's handy if you stick an old paintbrush up inside it so you're not getting all too sticky, and then you just rip your napkin into sections and just apply it all around your egg. Don't make them too big, or it adds too many wrinkles into your egg if you do that. So just little bits at a time, just covering up all the bits until it's all done. And when it's all completely covered, give it a really good coat of Mod Podge to harden it off, and just let them dry. And they're done, and they're all coated. I've decided to show this video today because it's part one, because once I've done all these different techniques of decorating these eggs, I'm going to use them in my house in my Easter decor. So this is me just finishing off, giving it its really good coat of Mod Podge all the way over it. And when you're done, you can pull it off the brush when it's dry and just stick another little bit of decoupage where the hole is. I've painted these just with a green acrylic paint that I mixed up with a blue, a green and a little bit of white. And now what I'm doing is I start by trying to kind of speckle on the spots. I'm trying to make duck eggs, but it was going everywhere and it wasn't really giving me the effect I was looking for. So I decided that the brush that I was using was quite an old brush, and if I just stippled it on, it would probably, this is me working it out, stippling it on would probably have a better effect. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just going around all the eggs and making sure that they've all had a little bit of a stipple. So I'm just going to go on now and stipple all of my green eggs with the brown chocolate chalk paint. Now there's a story to these carrots. I ordered them from Amazon and I didn't read it properly, and when they arrived they were glittery. They were orange glittery carrots, and I know that glitters for some people, but for me it wasn't going to kind of fit in with my sort of kind of the way I was going to decorate. So what I decided to do was I painted them first with chocolate coloured chalk paint, and I let them dry. So it's quite easy to do. I just, I've decided here that I need something to stop them, kind of, so I can get up the top. Pushing it in. So that's what I go on do now. I paint all of these orange carrots brown, and we'll get back to those in a minute. So with these eggs, I painted them an off-white, and I did the same stippling that I did on the bluey green eggs. And what I'm going to do now is I have a napkin with some rabbits on it, some hairs, so I'm going to cut some of those out, and I'm going to decoupage the rabbit onto the side of the eggs. So this is me just cutting it out. When it's something like this, I cut it out roughly first, and then I go back round all of the shape to make sure that you can't really see it's off camera, but then I go back round the shape to make sure that I've got rid of all the bits and they're not going to show up on my decoupage. I don't go too close because I painted them cream first so that you couldn't see, the kind of like the bits that go around the edges of the napkin. So I'm just very carefully cutting this out. Sorry, my hands are all covered in paint from the carrots. We'll get back to the carrots in a minute. So as I said, these are all just how to use the cheap polystyrene eggs in part of your decor. So there is a part two of this, of what I end up doing with them. But today it's just, there's going to be no glamour shot or anything. Today it's just purely how I decorated some of them and what I had in mind for each different set. I had quite a few of the polystyrene eggs, and I think it was under £1 for a big bag of them, so I had quite a lot. So I just decided to do something that would kind of fit into maybe different rooms or what I was planning on doing to decorate for Easter. So that's me just cutting really carefully around the rabbit. Sorry, it's a bit like watching paint dry, me doing this. So for those that haven't decoupaged before, when you get a napkin, you need to separate all the layers off it first, so that you're left with the very last layer, which has got the print on it. And that's me just sizing my little rabbit up, ready to apply the Mod Podge. So it's the satin Mod Podge I'm using for these ones. And just getting a brush. I think the trick with this is just to apply the glue all over it and then see what happens. It's because we're going round a curved surface, so they do end up sometimes with an occasional wrinkle on them because there's nothing much you can do about that. Sorry about the noise in the background, it's my dishwasher. Again, when you're doing just like one solitary, you have to make sure that you do specifically the edges, because the edges are really tricky. They're the ones that can lift up. I'm just pulling them and positioning them onto where I want them to be and making sure that I'm doing all the edges. Sorry, I'm off camera again. It's really hard when you craft, and I have to keep remembering that I'm filming myself because I wear glasses and sometimes I don't have them on my face. I tend to bring my work quite close to my face. So there we are, little bunny rabbit on the egg, and I think I've got 4 or 5 of these, and I did them all. I didn't cut full bunnies out for some of them. Some of them I picked from the edge of the napkin and just had half a bunny. So that's had a really good coat of Mod Podge all over them. And the thing is about decoupaging, once you've got it on, you've done all your edges, kind of leave it, because if you keep going over and over it, it'll become so thin that you'll rip a hole in it. So I'm just being quite gentle and using a really fine, soft bristle brush. A big, thick acrylic brush will just rip the napkin. So there we have it, one rabbit, and I do the rest and I let them dry. With my duck eggs, I've just fast forwarded this bit. You see me tying on the string and putting a little bit of greenery, and I did that with them all. So back to those carrots, these were the ones that were all covered in orange glitter. So what I did was I painted them brown first, and now I'm just using a wax brush, a great big wax brush, to stipple on some orange all over the carrots. And now I'm using scissors to make the kind of grooves, you know, that you see in carrots. I'm just pushing it into their foam, so I'm just pushing them into the foam. And I did this with all 3 of my carrots, just the same process each time, stippling on my orange, making sure that I do the bottom and marking the grooves in with my my scissors. And this is me on the last one, and you'll see me marking off the grooves in a minute, and that's the carrots done and looks so much better. So here I am just showing you what I ended up doing. So the carrots look so much better. And as I said, I'm not going to show you these all staged out today. There'll be a part 2 in how I decorated with these. So I've been Lel from Made by Marley, and if you like this, please subscribe, and if you want, feel the need to share it, and I'll see you next time for part 2.